Our next guest is one of Britain's most controversial public figures. For more than a decade, Tommy Robinson has been at the centre of debates around immigration, grooming, gangs, free speech and national identity. He's led protests and marches across the UK, campaign on what he says is a failure to tackle child sexual exploitation. Loved by supporters and condemned by critics, few figures have had a bigger impact on Britain's cultural wars. Strap yourselves in. Here's our chat with Tommy Robinson. Tommy, great to talk with you, finally. I'm surprised you're not dead yet.
So am I. I didn't think I'd make it at 40. I'm 43. I'm not even joking.
You have tested, I know you're not.
No, I'm not joking.
You have tested the boundaries. I feel like it's got, even harder for you in some ways, but also your message is finally getting out there. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is, because the media and the establishment had the monopoly on the message for so many years. They could tell people who I was, and people believed them. And now, thanks to Elon Musk, because there was a period, 2017 to 2024, I was invisible. They deleted me. Delete me from everything. I mean, everything. You couldn't, if you went on Facebook and mentioned my name, they'd delete your post. I was put up as a figure of hate. And there's actually an interview with a CEO of Facebook, and it's on Danish TV. And they're questioning him. Because what happened was I was invited to Denmark, I spoke at Parliament, and then any of the politicians who mentioned my name, on the lead politicians from Denmark, they had their post deleted. So they're outraged, saying, how are we being censored? And then they literally got one of the CEOs from Facebook on an interview, and he said, yeah, you're not allowed to mention Tom Robinson. You're not allowed to mention him. He's a figure of hate. And then he said, alongside, and he named some gentlemen. So I'm like, who's this gentleman? The bloke killed 5,000 people in a day. Like some Serbian warlord. It's like, hello, I haven't broken any crimes. You haven't even convicted me of any hate speech, arrested me or investigated me for anything to do with racism, hate, anything. Yet here I am, invisible, because you put me on level with someone who murdered 5,000 people in one day because I use speech, because you don't agree with my free speech. And I state facts, not opinions, facts.
At some point you decided to make a stand. Tell me a little bit about yourself, because I mean, Tommy Robinson isn't your name.
No.
So explain that to everyone in Australia.
So if you're sitting in Australia, you may think like I do, you may share my views, you may be concerned of immigration, you may be concerned of Islam, but I'm pretty sure you know what happens if you were to open your mouth. You probably sit in a good job, you have lots of bills, a decent family, you have a good life. Well, that was me. That was me in 2009. 2009, I owned 7 properties. I had a beautiful family. And then there was a soldiers' homecoming parade, which was attacked in my hometown of Luton. It was attacked by a radical jihadist group who I'd been following for many years to understand who they were. And to anyone, if you don't understand Luton, see, I pronounced my T there. We don't pronounce our T's. I've done that for you.
How do you say it?
Luton. Bottle, water.
Luton, bottle. Luton, bottle.
Bottle of water. But it's Luton, yeah? But Luton is 30 miles north of where we're sitting now in London. Luton was the launch pad for the 7/7 bomb plot, the fertiliser bomb plot, the Stockholm suicide bomber, the limo bomb plot, the Luton army-based bomb plot. I could go on and on and on. Bomb plot, bomb plot, bomb plot, terrorism, 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 jihad, jihad, jihad. Well, that's my hometown. And my hometown has a population of 200,000 and 33% of that population is Islamic. So all these problems have come from that one small town. And put that across the whole of the UK. So I sort of like, Luton was a bomb blueprint for the rest of the UK. When I was born in 1982, we had 1 mosque, we now have 45. So I literally just started speaking. From 2009, I made a decision. After the soldiers' homecoming parade, my cousin was a victim of the rape gangs when she was 13. What now everyone knows as the grooming gangs. Groups of Muslim men kidnapping English girls, raping them, and the police doing nothing. The authority, in fact, not just the police doing nothing, but the police co-opting and covering up for the gangs. Same with the council, same with the government. So I was born in that town. In 2009, I decided enough's enough and we need to make a stand. And I started organising protests. I set up a group called the United People of Luton. You just mentioned my name's Tommy Robinson. At the time of doing that, I didn't want to lose the comfortable life I had. As I said, I'd got 7 properties. I was a young, successful entrepreneur. I had 2 businesses. I had a plumbing business, employing 6 people, turning over hundreds and hundreds of thousands a year. I didn't want to lose it all. And I was aware from growing up in Luton, I'm from a working class background. Luton's a rough town. It's a very rough town. But I was aware of the level of violence you'd face from the Islamic community the minute you open your mouth. Because 2009, I'd done it previously in 2004 locally. I organised my first ever protest in 2004 called Ban the Luton Taliban. The consequence of that was every Islamic, Pakistani, jihadi, drug gang, grooming gang, every one of them, I was a target for them. And then I spent years pretty much fighting them. Come forward 2009, I thought, you know what? I want change. I'm going to talk about it, but I'm going to wear a mask and use a different name. So I was you, the person sitting at home, who don't want to talk about it but thinks it. And I was, I guess, I say sometimes we've created a generation of cowards. I was that coward because I was scared. But I wanted to see change. And then I realised with the Soldiers' Homecoming Parade, Scott Muntridge was 26. He died from our town training for that regiment, the regiment that was attacked by the Muslims. Michael Swain was 19. He lost his legs. So these were strong points for us and a lot of feeling around it. So the fact that these soldiers were attacked, it wasn't the fact they were attacked, because we know who this Islamic group called Al-Mujahideen, and I pronounce it wrong every time, bunch of Islamic scumbags, they are now a prescribed terrorist organisation. 60% of Muslims in prison for terrorism, ex-members of their group. But for decades, they were allowed, their head office was in my town. They were set up every week in my town. No one stopped them. Islamic community didn't stop them. It took us forming. We formed a group and stopped them. And because we formed a group to clash with them, the government then prescribed them. Now this group are gone because they're all on terrorist lists and they're all not allowed to do anything. But why did it take what it took? Why didn't they do this anyway? Why didn't the Islamic community, I just met with some Muslims this week, and they tried telling me that they challenged them, and it's all nonsense. You've done nothing. None of you's done anything. The government done nothing. Finsbury Park, we had that clown with the hook. He was part of that group. We had all of them just terrorising our country for decades.
You know,
they're doing it now in Australia. I see it, and they use your speech laws. They use your free speech laws. But what they're doing is inciting terrorism.
We picked something up from you for the show actually on X. A guy who'd raped a woman, and over here in this side of the world, in your country, the rape inquiry is completely and utterly shocked me to my core, and I don't understand why it's not a national crisis. I don't know why government isn't moving heaven and earth to eradicate the issue.
Well, that rape inquiry is just shown everyone what I've known and what I've been fighting for since I've become Tommy Robinson.
So on that point, they tried to shut you up. You did a bit of time in the big house. You came out and you re-engage. Are you inspired to come out of prison and keep going? So
they've put me in jail 5-6 times, different times. And I'll be honest, some of those times have messed me up. 2017, probably the worst. I went into jail, one person, come out another.
What do you mean?
I mean, I spent, and it doesn't seem like long. On that one, I've done 22 weeks in solitary confinement. That one there, I've done 14 weeks in solitary confinement. The most recent one, I've just done 7 months in solitary confinement. And I like to say I'm good company. Yeah? I'm not that good company, right? Just to sit in a bloody box on my own looking at the wall all day, like, all right, this is getting pretty boring.
Everywhere we travel with the Karl Stefanovic show, we hear the same thing. It's hard to employ people in Australia. It's way too hard. Rising costs, thousands of pages of fair work rules, edge cases everywhere. They're like the flies. It's so annoying. Even trying to do the right thing, you're one step away from doing the wrong thing, and who pays for it? No wonder people are fed up. It's almost like they don't want you to hire anyone anymore. That's why I like what the team at Tanda has created. Aussie-built software that handles all of that complexity: rostering, payroll, HR, and fair work compliance. Tanda takes care of it all and makes it easier to be an employer. So if you've got employees, check them out at tanda.com.au. You won't regret it.
but what they done on the last one, this is the insanity of it. The last one, I made a documentary. Yeah? I made a film.
Yeah.
Now, lots plays into this. Where we're sitting now, you just said they've tried to shut me up. How's that going for them? I sit there and laugh sometimes. I think the entire power of the British state, The entire power of the media. You wanted the world to hate me. It hasn't worked. I'm still here, yeah? I'm not just still here, but I'd say my voice is elevated around the globe, and not just my voice. Tommy Robinson become a symbol. So, yes, my name's Stephen Lennon, real name, Yaxley Lennon, if you want to play it that way. But Tommy Robinson become a symbol of resistance because it isn't just me they attacked. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of people like Tommy Robinson who have been scared into silence, who have been deplatformed, who have lost their jobs. So a lot of people feel when they see me take the hit that I'm taking the hit for them. Even if they don't agree 100% with what I'm saying. They think he's saying it. Yeah? And so we'd had all these years. 2017, I started in 2009, led a street protest movement till 2014. We were pretty lively, right? We were young English men, full of testosterone, which many men aren't now. Get some testosterone in you, lads, right? Get it up, right?
Get it
because
up.
you're all becoming women. So get some testosterone in you and become men again. But we were young men, English men, and we were of the mindset, well, we used to say, prepared for peace, ready for war, death, prison or glory, we won't submit. So we had all these different sayings when we started. Now, these were sayings of young men. As I said, I was 24, and I'd seen so much. And the only attitude, I'm telling you, the only attitude you can have with the Islamic community is not that, right? It is that we're not backing down, right? You're not going to scare us. They don't try and scare me anymore when I see them in the street. Because they know if you want, I'll come straight at you. Yeah, if you want, I don't want to. Right, but once they know that, I get them shake my hand. I have their gangsters come up to me in Luton and grab my hand and shake it and say, "I don't like you, Tommy, but I do respect you." They're like, "I don't like you, but I respect you. You stand on your values." Now they don't recognise anything but that. So Donald Trump, they'll respect. Keir Starmer, they'll jump all over him. They'll run amok. Right? They only understand strongmen. So when we started in 2009, we attracted many young men from across the UK who, let's just say, were fed up because what was happening in our town was happening in every town and weren't going to be beaten into submission because most people were just beaten into submission. So we were a lively group. We got forward to 2014. Lots happened in those 4 years. 6 Muslims failed. Have you seen the film Four Lions? So they got there 2 hours late to blow us up. Guns, bombs, suicide vests, IEDs, everything, yeah? And then they get to where we were 2 hours late. And there's a video of them walking through this empty square like absolute fucking retards. Walking through an empty square. They've got a car boot full of all this suicide stuff. And no one's there to kill, yeah? No one's there to kill because they got there late. And then on their way home, they run out of petrol. On their way home, they run out of petrol. No, they got pulled over on their way home. We run out. They got pulled over for no insurance. So the police pull them over for no insurance. They don't search the boot. So they compound the car. 2 days later, the compound company opened the boot. They find all these guns and bombs and everything. They're like, and then the police come to see me and say, look, there's a big case coming. They were trying to get me through my phone. So they're trying to track my phone. I went to their court case and there's 19 of them. I say them. There's the 6 on trial and then there's 19 of their family members and supporters, all these big bearded jihadists. And we're at the Old Bailey and they only let me and my cousin in. I've gone to their court case and we're on the back row and they're all in front of us and then they're getting sentenced. The case was quite funny, yeah, because they're looking up porn on their phone. So they're going through all their Google searches, yeah. And the days before they're searching pornography and that, these big jihadists. So I'm sitting there laughing my head off. But then they get 30 years. I'm trying to think, what can I say that won't get me done for contempt of court? So when they get their sentences, I was like, God save the Queen. Like that. And then it all just kicks off, man. It all just kicks off. And then they all turn around and we're kicking them off the back of the road. But all the jihadists, there's 19 of them in court. We've got our backs to the wall. All hell's going off, yeah? All hell's going off. This case goes on, they get 30 years. 6 months later, I'm taken to court where when I started the English Defence League, they went back through 6 years of every member of my family. Every finance with every bank, everything, yeah? They pulled me through. They got members of my family on tax and things like this, and then they struck me a deal to plead guilty. If I plead guilty, they drop everyone. So I pled guilty, right? So I land in jail. I get, what did I get? I get 18 months. So I land in jail. I'm in jail, and I go onto the first night centre. I'm in a maximum security prison for a paper offence. Yeah? I'm in a maximum security prison, and then an officer knocks on my door, opens up my door, and says, when they come to get you, don't leave this cell. I said, what? He said, your life depends on it, son. Don't leave the cell. I said, okay. So I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? And then they come to get me 2 hours later, 3 prison officers with him said, come on, you're going on A-wing. I said, I ain't going anywhere, mate. He goes, if you don't go anywhere, we're going to make an arrest. You're going to be detained in the cell and put on isolation. So I thought, okay, sound. And then they put me down in isolation. Next day I go for a legal meeting. I go for my legal meeting, I'm sitting, there's all clear rooms. See all that glass? Clear room, clear room, clear room, clear room. I'm sitting there. Who am I looking at? I'm looking at the 6 jihadists who just got 30 years. And they're looking at me. And I'm looking, and they're like, what the fuck? Tommy Robinson's here. Like, he just come, like, they're all looking at me. I'm looking at them, and I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble, man. But there's all glass blocking us. So we go from this, and I have my legal meeting, and then I finish my legal meeting, and I'm like, okay, they're in here. And that's where they were taking me to A-Wing. So when I go back, but from there, I get taken to the waiting room. There's a waiting room, say, probably as big as this room. They take me to the waiting room, the prison officers do. They open up the door. As soon as they open up the door, I see beards. I mean, okay. So, and they were looking like, they didn't know I was coming either. These Muslims. It weren't those 6, it was some more Muslims. And then they locked the door. And I didn't sit down because I knew what was coming. And then we just fight. I get my teeth all smashed in. That's why I've got these beautiful teeth, look. Courtesy of H&P. Thank you, boys. So I get my teeth smashed. I get my front 4 smashed in. This is going 2014. I get my front 4 smashed in, and then they take me down to isolation.
So somebody had organised that hit in the prison.
Yeah, the prison had. No, the prison had. The prison. So when I get back to the prison officer, his next paratrooper, he said, Tommy, they were taking you to A-Wing, where they are, the 6 that got in here for wanting to kill you. There's no cameras on A-Wing, mate. You're gone. He goes, they're going to kill you. You're not going to beat you up. They're going to kill you. And we're in a maximum security jail. Just Google this. Woods Hill beheading. They beheaded a prisoner on the yard. They took his head off. 3 Muslims took a man's head off in the prison. So this prison is an ISIS training camp. It's a 40% Muslim jihadist. Bearing in mind, Muslims make up 6% in the UK, 40% of the maximum securities, all the maximum security is taken over by Islam. All of them. But this was 2014, so that's one prison sentence, yeah? That's time of the EDL, I leave the EDL, I come out of jail, and Ezra Levant convinces me to become a journalist. Basically says to me, stop the street activism and let the world see what you see. Make videos where there's problems, go and show them to the world, yeah? So I become a journalist 2015, and I rose very quickly. And my views went worldwide. 2017, I'm one of the most watched journalists, I'd say, in the world. That's when they clamped down and they deleted me and made me invisible. After I made a documentary called Panodrama, great film. If you want to watch any of my films, you can go to trfilms.co.uk. I've made some brilliant documentaries. I'm not just saying it. I think ours are the best documentaries that have been made in the UK.
So, Tommy, they came down pretty hard on you, and they want to eliminate your voice. Do you think, some of that messaging around, and some of the violence on the streets that came as a result of, the meetings and the protests being organised, do you think that somehow took away from your
it did.
attempt?
I learned a lot. Look, I'm a different man now to say you're not. I'm 43. When you're 25, when you're 30, you change a lot, yeah? I've learned a lot, changed a lot. We were angry. Of course we were angry. You see, you just read the rape gang inquiry. Was you angry?
Yeah.
Well, imagine you knew the girls.
I've got 2 daughters.
Imagine you knew the girls. Imagine you'd met the families. Imagine. You're going to be angry. Justified anger. Justified. So I also knew by 2014 when I ended the English Defence League. I didn't have to end it. I ended it. I left and realised that behaving the way we're behaving, because no matter what we'd done, even if we behaved, we were going into large Muslim demographic cities. They were coming out organised, and there was always a big clash. But at the time, I'm not going to apologise because that was needed. If you look at the arrest rate for rape gangs, grooming, the English Defence League forms in 2009, there's none. By 2010, it just goes right up. They had to, we forced them to. And in fact, Andrew Norfolk was a journalist who won all the awards for the rape gang inquiry. Now, his own words, he knew it was happening for years, so he's a coward. He's dead now, but he was a coward, yeah, because he knew young girls were being raped. Imagine you knew what was happening in that rape gang inquiry, because he knew, all of them knew, and you said nothing because you were worried about being deemed a racist. Well, that was Andrew Norfolk, yeah? And his words were that when he saw the emergence of the far right in 2009, he knew he had to do something. He had to take it back from the far right. Far right meant fathers, sons, husbands, brothers. It meant English men. So he had to take it back. So we forced the coward to do his job, which 2015 he made a report with a very brave lady, Sammy Woodhouse. How long are you here for?
Keep going.
Get Sammy Woodhouse on your show. Yeah? Get Sammy Woodhouse on your show. Sammy Woodhouse is the lead surviving face of Rotherham. She was her rapist got the longest prison sentence out of any of them have got, 30 years. So yes, you could question our tactics and you could question how we behaved at times. And in fact, for myself, it was the most difficult thing because I was constantly having to defend the behaviour of men that had turned up rather than talk about the...
And that's the point, Tommy, because I think that you have such a clear voice and you articulate what people are feeling out there and they want that voice. And...
discredits it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but... we didn't plan anything.
This is not my judgment.
No, I know it was. Yeah. But remember this, none of it was planned. So I went in 6 months from leading successful companies on building sites to being the leader of the biggest street protest movement you've ever seen. We didn't plan it at all. It just went... So I think we've done pretty well.
No, and skip forward to the even...
Skip forward to Elon. So 2017, journalist, deleted, made invisible. I then go through court case because the worrying thing is when they make you invisible, I thought, now they're coming for me.
Yeah.
Now they're coming for me because no one's going to hear it. And they did. They put me back in jail again. They put me back in jail again once. I come out of jail. Then I went to Getter, which is a obsolete little social media platform. I tried VK first in Russia. They deleted me. So I went to Getter, a new American free speech platform, and I made the most important content I've ever made, which was a 5-part rape gang documentary series called The Rape of Britain. But no one was watching it. Do you know how disheartening that is? So I spent 12 to 18 months in a city called Telford, and I spent time with dozens of girls and families, getting to know them and hearing their story and building a story, a big chart, and interviewing the girls 3 times, 4 times, 3 hours, 4 hours. And I built a database of the men. Now, and I chose Telford specifically because Telford was 1,000 victims. The police investigation identified 1,000 victims.
1,000 victims.
Yeah, 5 are dead, burned alive, murdered, children. No one even knows their names. No one. So I concentrated on this town because the police identified 200 Muslims. And I looked at the demographic of Telford, 1.7% Muslim population. There's only 1,000 Muslim men. So out of that 1,000 men, they've raped 1,000 kids. 200 of them we know are involved. So I went and done a 5-part series investigating them. And then I went and got the men. When I say got the men, once the men were named by 3 or more girls, it was time for us to go into their businesses, go to their properties and ask them some questions. So I'd done that at a time when I was absolutely deplatformed. And at the time, this when all the attacks started coming. I then had an attack by the government, which took me to court. They told everyone I lied. But to tell everyone I lied, see, there was a story in the north of England. I have to be very careful here because I'll go straight back to prison. But there was a story in the north of England where a child got a bottle of water poured over him. I don't know if you saw this. Blew up onto world news. Now, I got told this isn't the true story. Yeah? People contact me with stories. So I made a video. I spoke to a mother, spoke to children at school, said, well, you're not getting the whole story here. There's a lot that's gone on here. They then went out, told everyone I lied. A mother who had contacted me to say her daughter had been attacked by this boy, she put out a statement saying it was false, what she said. So I'm sitting thinking, well, what's going on here? So then I get the court letters. They're taking me to court. And then I look at it, I go for a meeting with lawyers. It's financial terrorism. They hit me for £1.5 million. But when I went to court, I refused to apologise. So instead of apologising, I went and wore a hidden camera. And I knocked on school teachers' doors because I knew the school teachers weren't telling the truth. And when I knocked on the door, I got them all banged to rights. They were all paid. They all told me. So they're on camera. They don't realise they're on camera. I took the money, Tommy. That's an Asian teacher. I took the money. They paid us. We're not allowed to tell the truth. The head teacher, Tommy, you're never going to get the truth out there. I'm thinking, yes, I am because you're on camera, bro. I'm getting the truth out there to the world. Then the woman who said that he didn't take part in attacks against her daughter, I made a statement. When I knocked at her door, she just said, Tommy, they're threatening to rape us all. We've got to live here. So I said, okay, what you did say, was it true? She said, yeah. So I got all of these things and then I produced them in court. And like that, I said, There you go. 7 teachers. Here's the school records, guys. Yeah, everything I said was true. Okay, everything I said was true. Now, this didn't go before a jury. It went before a High Court judge. Now, this was the first time in my life. Now, if you read my life story, I've pretty much just gone full like 100 mile an hour at it, yeah? I'd been in jail, as I said to you, in 2017. I've got 3 children. It affected them, it affected me, it messed my life up, yeah? A few times. Now, 2021, I lose this court case. But I've got all the evidence, so I told the truth. But the judge gives me an injunction. Says, you ever show anything from this court case, you get 2 years in jail. Now, what I should have done, and where I failed myself as a journalist, an activist, an Englishman, I should have just played it.
Yeah.
I should have just played it. But I didn't play it. I got divorced because of all of this. And I was pretty lost and broken. I was a mess, actually, an absolute mess. You said that you're surprised I'm alive earlier. I'm surprised I'm alive through my own actions at that time. I was a ticking time bomb. But I moved abroad and I struggled a lot, man. I struggled all the while because I had this in my pocket. And I just wanted to let it go, but I was too scared of the consequences of years of solitary confinement. And then I'm sat in Spain. I can remember where I was. I was sat in a bar, eating. I had my phone, and ping, my Twitter just flicked on. And I went, my Twitter account's back. Elon Musk has bought it 12 months prior. I'm invisible. I'm not invisible now. I'm like, Twitter's back. And I see Katie Hopkins. Have you spoke to Katie Hopkins?
Not yet.
Speak to Katie Hopkins. I spoke to Katie Hopkins. Katie's Twitter's back. So I
think she wanted £3,000 and we just can't afford it.
Did she? Okay. well, Katie's back. Yeah? Well, Katie's popped up and Katie's back. So then I just went, so I rang Katie. I said, your Twitter's back. She went, what? I said, your Twitter's back. My Twitter's back. And the worst thing is about this, Katie started tweeting. I didn't remember my password. So I'm sat there for days, yeah, looking at my Twitter account. Now, I deleted my life to concentrate on Twitter previously to this. So I'm looking at Twitter and I'm like, I can't bloody tweet. But this was the real, for me, at that time, I then contacted Karl Benjamin, Maya Tusi, Jeff Taylor, Lawrence Fox, Calvin Robinson, Katie Hopkins. I contacted a group of people and said, right, I'm coming back to England. I've been away for 3 years. I haven't organised a demonstration. There was a protest continually since October 7th where they took over our capital city. They've done it to yours. They took over every Western thing. And we all had to sit and watch the 2-tier policing. They then threatened Armitage Day, November, our remembrance moment for our troops. They're going to disrupt the silence. So I made a video, first of all, saying, you're not going to disrupt the silence because every British man is coming. Make your plans, we're hitting London. Now, then the Attorney General, so when I made this film, I didn't release it, but it got leaked in America 2 years prior in a cinema. Yeah? Didn't make any, it had 200,000 views. The Attorney General contacts my lawyer and says, we're contemplating, bearing in mind nothing's happened for 2 years. So I organised a demonstration. They're basically threatening me because of the demonstration. We're contemplating prosecuting Tommy Robinson for the leaked film 2 years ago for contempt of court. And that's a week before demonstration. So I've now got X. So I make a video saying, hey, Mr. Attorney General, go fuck yourself. Yeah? I'm back. So I'm here. Right? So whatever you do, people are going to see it. So I make the video, just say, go do one. Yeah? I fly back to England, hold a demonstration. But the main point is we held a demonstration. It was all over the news. And it was lots of men turned up, thousands of us. And then, but I know we need to change tactic anyway. Yeah? And I know we need to. English Defence League was good at what it did, but we need to win the hearts and minds of the public, yeah? That's what this is about. So then I sit and we book a hotel. We worked for months, but we spent 48 hours together, all of these people. We videoed it all. I've still got the videos. I'm going to show everyone in the story of how it come about. We sat down and got around a room like this. And I said, right, you write your 10 main dangers to Britain and what you want to solve and our values. You do the same, you do the same, you do the same. The point in it was that we're not got the money to start a political party and it will cost tens of millions, hundreds of millions, it'll take 20 years. But we can change the culture of Britain. And if we change culture, politics will follow. So that's what we need to do. For these years when we were invisible, it became cool to become a Muslim. Look at Andrew Tate. He wouldn't convert now, trust me. If he had that situation now, he would not convert. Boxers are now coming in to Christ is King flags and gospel Christian music. Yeah? That shift has happened over 2 years. So we had this meeting and said, right, we got down to 5 points. that we could all agree on, not what we disagree on. Me and you. So rather than discussing the things we disagree on, because we're going to disagree on a lot, and when you bring egos together, you're a liar if you say you haven't got one. Everyone's got one, especially in these movements. So we need them to work together. So let's just pick 5 values. We all believe in free speech. We're against mass immigration. We're against Islam. We're a Christian nation. And we're against LGBTQ indoctrination of children. That's it. Now, sitting here now, at that point, I had 300,000 followers on X. So sitting here now, well, I've got an all right following on X. Katie, you've got 1 million on YouTube. So you've got YouTube taken care of. You've got Facebook. I'm not allowed to be mentioned on Facebook. So the reason we needed to bring these people together was to bypass the censorship attempts on me. And also, it was an attempt to not make it a Tommy Robinson movement. That didn't really work, right? It's a Tommy Robinson movement. But the attempt was to reach the masses and appeal to the masses on culture. Now, did you watch the Makerfield election? Yeah, 56% vote rate, right? So 44% didn't get off their arse and vote. I know why they didn't. And I can't believe no political party's trying to get them. Now, I've never voted. No one I know's ever voted. We don't vote. We don't vote because we're disillusioned, we don't trust them, don't believe in it, don't think our voice matters, all these things. They don't want us voting. Yeah? Now, Keir Starmer was elected off 9 million votes. That is what apathy does, because 20 million didn't vote. If they voted, if we get them voting. So our vision with the cultural movement was, when we sat around this room, is that if us 12 people now, who have all been under attack, who have all been deplatformed, if we work together under a common banner, which we come up with a name, Unite the Kingdom, we can change politics.
So do you think now where things are at, you mentioned the by-election, Andy Burnham, it looks like he's, sitting pretty to be
Labour leader.
The next Labour leader. Reform is still behind, but they were more engaged with Nigel Farage. How is the right going to take power over the next 3 years?
So over the next 3 years, as I said, we set out for our first event on the 30th of June 24. And in this meeting, we had lots of plans, lots of visions. And I think if you look where we were in 2024, look where we were now. To change discussion, move the overwritten window, change culture, make it cool to be British, bring back pride in the flag, and reintroduce Christianity and Jesus into Britain. I'd say we've succeeded in every one of them. Yeah? It's just gone boom. Now the country was ready to go boom, and now it's gone boom. So there's a cultural revolution that's happening. It's underway.
Do you need political change?
We need political change.
So the
solution is politics.
How do you convert the vibe and energy and those 5
values,
key points and values into representation?
Well, that's happening anyway. So Nigel Farage was going to America to work as a TV host until our first event. He saw 30,000 on the street. He become leader of Reform. Yeah? We went from 30,000 to 100,000 to 200,000 to millions, to the biggest events Britain's ever seen. But how do we convert that? So that's our job now. My job isn't politics, and I don't want it to be politics.
So what do you want to do?
I want to reach the 50% non-voters, and I want to register them to vote. I want to go into the roughest areas of Britain, the working class communities that have been forgotten and neglected, and I want to captivate them, re-energise them, and make them believe that they matter. And that will cause a fucking earthquake.
Well, why not? Because this is a great country, and it's just so lost.
Well, the Brexit vote come from the non-voters vote. Now, we need to, again, it's a long task. We need to work, we're working on it now. We're trying to gain fund, because to do this, we need to be active in those communities for the next 3 years. Now, they're the communities that no one goes to. Now, Nigel Farage paints himself with a beer. Do you think Nigel Farage has ever been to a working class estate after 7 p.m. in his life?
It's probably been a while.
Probably never is the answer. Never. Yeah. The hierarchy of each of these parties, even if we look at Restore, I don't know if there's a working class man in that group. Yeah. I don't think there's any in Reform.
No, I think this is why you're so fascinating, because you sit outside of the established parties and the established movements. Even if reformers come, as restorers come from reform, you're further up, but there's no one actually driving working class agendas in this country.
I don't want to tell people who to vote for. That's the truth. Yeah. I want to watch what happens with Reform, watch what happens with Restore. Reform have been very negative about me. Reform haven't. Nigel Farage has. He seems to have stopped that now, hopefully. I never wanted to be his enemy. In fact, like at our first event, I said, put your hand up if you vote for Reform. Every person put their hand up. Okay.
Why do you think that he's created that enemy status with you? Because you're a threat?
I think Nigel seems to get rid of anyone who he sees as a threat for popularity. But I think maybe with me it was to mainstream himself. But maybe he's clever. Maybe he's done. Look, I looked at what happened with Brexit when we had the Brexit situation, and he'd done the same there. And he brought some left-wing people on board, and look, it worked for him. So, personally, I have to sometimes, when you've said what I've said for 15 years, and now you see see the people who condemned you saying it, it's a pretty bitter pill to swallow. Yeah. So I sit there thinking, you cheeky bastard.
Yeah.
You condemn me, and now you're literally reading my playbook.
But this is literally happening in Australia with the One Nation Party. And
I love her, Pauline.
Yeah.
Well, she's proved herself, isn't she?
Do you know Pauline?
And I've watched her for years. She spoke up for me. She's one of the only people who spoke up for me from that side of the world. And I respect her. So looking at her rise, do you know how happy I am for her? Because she's been through what I've been through. She's been condemned, attacked, battered, every name under the sun. And here she is. She's carried on against all of that backlash, all of that whirlwind. And it's not easy. I'm a man. It's not easy. So for a woman, the amount of slander, the amount of horrible, disgusting things she's had said about her, she's just carried on fighting. And truth comes out in the end.
And then when you hear the main political parties now talking and using some of her policy, and actually they're catching fire in the electorate. Good.
Well done, Pauline. Respect to her. And I don't know all of her policies, so I don't have to agree anything. But what I can say is she hasn't backed down, and that's what a leader should be.
Tommy, what is to come then for this great country in the next? With the new Prime Minister, we're not sure who it's going to be. Maybe Andy Burnham. But what do you think of him?
Andy Burnham. So in when was the Ariana Grande concert? When it got blown up in Manchester. What year was that?
Was that 3 years ago?
No, it was longer than that.
5?
Well, anyway, when that happened, I went up to Manchester and I started looking into Manchester. And I found that Andy Burnham had took money. Sue me if you didn't, Andy. His group had took money from a group called MEND. MEND are an Islamic jihadist group. So, and then I looked, and so I started going down the rabbit hole. When I look at something, I just go in, yeah? So I looked at MEND, and I found a mosque that a MEND leader had been speaking at. And I got the transcripts of his speech. And what he said is that we swing the seats in 10 seats. This is the Muslim vote. This is what we need to do. We swing the seats. So Liberal Democrats, Conservatives, and Labour will all talk of us. Don't worry what they call us. Yeah? And he's right. So they all do. So then I looked at the actual council meetings on the council website. Andy Burnham was sharing joint host events with MEND. So whilst he can sit there and condemn jihadists, he's in bed with them. They help fund him. He's in bed with them.
So he's a move further to the left.
He's a move further to the left. He works with them. But he'll pretend he doesn't, and he looks quite good, sounds quite good, so he'll fool a lot of people. So he's dangerous as well.
You got one word for him?
Well, I've got one word for Keir Starmer. Wanker. Right? Absolute wanker. That is now, Keir Starmer is known around the world as wanker. Oh, fuck. He is the most famous wanker in history. It's like every football game. Have you seen so we have darts, the darts?
Yeah.
And the song is Keir Starmer's a wanker. It's where they've got it on the news. You go to a football match, any football match, when there's a football match and all the crowd are singing Keir. Now in America, they're all singing. So everywhere, Keir Starmer's a wanker. But Andy Burnham is, I'd say he's a dangerous man because he looks good, talks good. I watched his speech yesterday, sounds good, about shifting Labour and change. It's all nonsense. He's in bed with them. It's all nonsense. We don't need a Labour government. We don't need a left-wing government. But the optimism I have is, remember, I've been doing this for 17 years. So I've been through the thick, the thin, the hard. Our country's awake. They're awake. We're now where? We're one of the poshest parts of London. I've had 3 people take my photo at the end of the road.
Don't give my secrets away.
My secrets away, okay.
So 3 people get your photo.
At the end of the road on this road. Yeah. So things have totally changed for me. When I walk down the street, I used to get a punch in the nose. Now, I just get shown a lot of love. So people who didn't like me now say they like me. All of this has come from Elon Musk turning on X, giving Britain back an opportunity to see the truth, hear the truth. Rather than people be told who I am, they can actually sit and think, well, no, I watched this video.
I see on Sky News, UK Sky News, important difference. that he's a threat to society,
Me.
Elon Musk?
Oh, Elon Musk. Anyone who believes in free speech is a threat to their society, because their society is about control. They want to control speech. They want to control everything. Every element of your life they want to control. That's their future. That's the left's future. That's the European Union don't believe in free. We don't have free speech. 12,000 people last year arrested for social media posts. Then they talk to us about Russia. 800 people arrested last year. And they want us to believe that we live in a free and democratic society. Well, we don't. We live under tyranny. And every totalitarian state has its weapons. The media. Let me give you an example again. So 2017, I come out of prison. And do you know Panorama? So Panorama is the flagship documentary maker for the BBC. The most renowned. It's actually who Donald Trump's about to sue. Have you watched my documentary Panorama? Oh, man. Everyone at home, watch this. This is the best documentary you'll ever see, yeah? I'm not just saying it, right? It's mine, so I would be saying it, but I'm not just saying it.
God, I love you.
It's unbelievable, bro. So Panorama are working on a documentary against me. So I come out of jail and I find out. And I shit myself. Panorama are the best. So I thought, oh my God. Like, they are the covert recording specialists with covert recording. So I start thinking, right, what are they doing? And the working title's Tommy Takedown. Now, the reason for this, I come out of jail, 660,000 people signed a petition saying I shouldn't be in jail. I was in jail for reporting on the grooming gangs. They locked me up, made a reporting restriction. It all blew up thanks to Australia, Canada and America, because no one in England was allowed to talk about it. But then other people started talking about it. 30,000 people marched on Parliament. When I come out, a government-funded questionnaire was on all social media, dissecting what the public think of me. So they were worried. You know, they were thinking, shit, people like this kid. Yeah, we need to stop this. So in step Panorama. Now, when you understand who Panorama are, Panorama are the government. Say when they wanted war with Assad, Panorama do a documentary saying he's using chemical weapons, but Panorama are believed. So I go, okay. So I look at Panorama and I send someone undercover into Panorama. Yeah? So John Sweeney is the head of Panorama. So I get a girl sitting next to John Sweeney like this, covertly recording for me. I'm sat in a car around the corner. Oh man, I get him banged to rights on everything. I get him making sexual allegations against me. He tells her, what we're going to do, because he thinks she hates me. So basically, Panorama are approaching everyone who I've ever fell out with from when I was this big. Yeah? And then they're asking them to give them dirt on me. So I send a girl in.
Smart.
Yeah, I send a girl in who there's been a public fallout between me and her. So when she sits down, they think, great, she hates him. Yeah. And actually, she didn't like me. She didn't like me. But she didn't like me, but she believed what they're doing is wrong. So she goes in and says, right, I've got an argument recorded between me and Tommy Robinson. And they say, how angry does he get? She says he gets really angry, but I swear at him. I'm screaming at him. They say, well, don't worry, we'll cut all that out. We'll cut all that out. And he says, what does he say? And then he gets all excited. He says, right, we're going to make this into a sexual thing against Tommy Robinson. And then he sits her down and says, we have multiple meetings with him. Right, what I want you to say, I want you to say this, this, and this. If you say those three things, they go on the documentary, do we have a deal? This isn't journalism. Yeah? This is not journalism. Right? Then they take two of my old employees with Hope Not Hate, are a far left extremist organisation. They're a government NGO who attack anything to do with free speech. So BBC are meant to be independent. They're taxpayer funded. So they go and sit my old employee down and he sits and talks about me because they blackmail him. Right? I've got him all on recording saying it. They're blackmailing him. He doesn't say enough. Hope Not Hate, pull him outside. And then they threaten him with more stuff and then sit him back down to say more stuff to put on TV about me. So so they're trying to find me, Panorama, because they've got this documentary ready to go about me. They don't know I've been recording them for months, yeah? So then I contact them and said, right, meet you tomorrow. Don't give me much. I'll meet you tomorrow. It has to be on my location. So I go to a location near mine and I set up a screen on the wall there. And then I set up my chair and their chair and I camera the whole room. And I remember because it was my daughter's school assembly. So I go get it all set up and then I run to my daughter's assembly to sit and watch her in school assembly. And my head's I'm fried. I'm shitting myself, thinking, I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm trying to look at my little girl and pretend I'm enjoying her show and she's doing really well. But my head's in another room. I finish the school assembly. I go straight to location. They're already all there. So when I go in, there's 5 producers sat there, all the top head of... Now, have you done many documentaries? Well, the producers don't turn up for an interview. This was that big for them. Yeah? This was the end of Tommy Robinson. This documentary was going to end me as a Harvey Weinstein. That's what they were making me, yeah? So I sit there, and the first thing I sit down and said, all right, lads, nice to meet you all. Who's making this documentary? And he said, what? And I had all these recorded. Who's making this documentary? We are. Would you involve other parties or other groups if it's BBC? No, we wouldn't. Press play. On the wall behind me, it played Hope Not Hate were present, and Hope Not Hate were threatening people to get information on me. So then I ask him again, so it stops. I said, so I'm going to ask you a question. Were Hope Not Hate, named by the Swedish government as a far-left extremist organisation, were they present in an interview of my ex-employees? This is a BBC documentary. Now let me show you a message from Hope Not Hate. And I had a message from one of their, I got in their account. And from their account, it said, we are directing the documentary against them. So I said, so whose documentary is it? Is it Hope Not Hate's? Or is it yours, the BBC? And I said, now, John, I'll ask you an important question. Would you ever tell anyone what to say in a documentary? Would that be journalism, John? He says, no. Press play. And then it plays him saying, say this. And as it plays that, we've got cameras on all their producers, yeah? And they literally go like this. And we've got the whole, all of them like that. And I'm sitting there and I don't take, I'm shitting myself at saying, and I just don't take my eyes off him. I don't watch the wall. I'm just looking straight at his face for his reaction. And he's like, and I said, ever make sexual allegations, John? No. Press play. Ever be racist, John? Because what he says, he's a racist twat. So I said, everything you say about me, I got in one drunk lunchtime with you. One drunk lunchtime. He said to the woman, whenever you have a... who did the Turks go to war with this? Cyprus? Northern Cyprus. Yeah, he said, whenever I go to a Cypriot, I always say thank you in Turkish. What, because the Turks raped their country? I said, you won't. And then do you know what he called me? He said, Tommy Robinson is from scumbag Irish background, because my family are poor and Irish. And the other comment he made, I caned him. The other comment he made, there's a journalist, it couldn't have been better. Do you know what I've done? So when I first started, there's a website called sendafaketext.com. Yeah. So I can go on that website now and put your phone number, and I can send myself a text from your phone. Yeah. And it comes up from your phone. But it's fake. Yeah. So I messaged the girl saying, if you work... So when we done it, we filmed it on camera. She's on the computer. I said, right, just pretend I'm at home in bed, right? So I'm nothing to do with this. Now, Panorama are the best. They're the best investigators in the world. Let's see if they actually check if this is real or not, because it suits their agenda. So she goes on, sends herself a text message saying, I'm going to bury you, you bitch, if you work with Panorama. So as I'm grilling him and making him look this big, I'm literally making him look my height. And as I'm doing that, he's just like, and he keeps going for his pocket. And I know what he's going for. Yeah.
Oh my God, you have lined him up.
I'm waiting to the end, bro. And then at the end, he's like, he stands up, he says, yeah, well, Tommy, well, what about this? And he pulls out this message. And I didn't even let him know. I just looked at the camera and said, I fucking told you. Didn't even check it.
Tommy.
And then I walked out. But that got me deleted from every social media. That's the reason. That documentary.
I wonder what it's like to live inside your head.
And my head doesn't stop. It's not the best place. It's not the best place. You know that. That's my mate over there.
The security guy.
No,
but you are fighting a fight that you believe in so much to your core.
Yeah, I believe in it. And when I didn't release that film in 2021, Elon Musk turns us back. And all things happen for a reason. Yeah? And I believe now there's a higher power. I didn't. I totally believe that my life and where I'm at and everything that's happened, there has to be. Because every time I get knocked down, something picks me up. I mean, I can be like that and then it's just like, get up. Elon Musk was like, get up, go get him, boy. And so then come forward 2024, we've got the biggest... So we've had our first protest. Now we've got our second protest. I've been threatened by the Attorney General already. Now, the film that was leaked, which was on 200,000 views, a week before my protest, it got deleted. And it got deleted off the other place it was. So I rang my solicitor, said, they're coming for me. I know they're coming for me. So they've deleted the film from the two places. If they come for me now and prosecute me, no one's going to see why I'm in jail. They're going to be able to lie again. So I sat my family down, my kids down, and said, look, I've got an event on the 27th of July in London. I'm going to play the film. I have to play the film. And my family knew it'd eat me. I said, I have to play it. Because if they come for me anyway, and do you know what? So I stood on stage, thanked my family, and said, I'm going to show you something now which is going to land me in jail because they're going to come for me. But I want you to watch it I want the world to see it. And I played the film. And you know when I played that film, I felt free. I hadn't felt free for 3 years. I'd felt like I'd had something pulling me down. And when I played the film, I was like, yeah, come and get me now. Yeah. Because it was on 200,000 views. Now, I knew I'd go to jail and I was scared about getting killed, but more so about the mental effect it has of sitting on solitary. I knew so when I landed in jail, so they get me 18 months. I went to court. The judge offered me to remove the film. Remove the film, I would drastically reduce this sentence now. I'm not removing the film. Yeah, the world can see that film. At that point, it was on a few million views. They locked me in jail. The film went to 167 million views.
Wow.
Now, first week of January, I'd been in solitary for 8 weeks. They brought me into the jail. There's 16 cells. So solitary confinement is where you go as a punishment. And there's 16 cells on this unit. They removed everyone. So that I couldn't even talk through a wall. So I walk in 16 empty cells, like Hannibal bloody Lecter. Look at me. I made a film, lads. And then they sit me down the first week with psychologists and all that because you're on solitary confinement, all nurses and doctors and governors. And I just asked them, you intend to hold me like this on my own in that room for an 18-month prison sentence? I said, you're the expert, you're the psychologist. What's that going to do to my head? She said, it's going to be devastating. I said, so how the fuck can you do this? How are you doing this? I'm in for a civil offence. I made a documentary. No one's arguing anything was wrong in the documentary. Yeah? But anyway, I'm in there for 8 weeks. I'm not feeling great, probably feeling sorry for myself, which it's still pretty hard to feel sorry for yourself with the amount of letters and mail I get from the public. It's beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing. And then I ring home and my son goes, Dad, he's screaming, yeah? Because I sat my son down and said before, when I was thinking, I said, kids, if I can get 10 million people to watch this film, then that's 10 million that know the judiciary's corrupt. And this film's bigger than me because the weaponisation of the courts were used against Donald Trump, Steve Bannon, Katie Hopkins, Gert Wilders, any politician, pick up any. I bet Pauline Hanson, have they done her through the courts? Anyone who stood up, they used the courts to try and shut them down. If they can't stop you one way, they weaponise the courts. So this film showed all of that. It showed how they do it, the operation of it. So I said to my son, if it can get 10 million views, it's been a success. I'm probably going to be gone for a year. Yeah, but I need to do it because I just need to. And then, so I ring home and he's like, Dad. I'm like, whoa. I'm thinking, what's going on? He said, Elon Musk just pinned the film.
Get out.
I was like, fuck yeah. I was jumping. The prison officers must just heard because I was like, I was banging on the door. And then at that point, I was like, we did it. We absolutely did it. Because it was a risk. If no one would have watched the film, I've just gone and screwed my mind for nothing. And then I was ringing him back. Each time I got to ring back, he's like 60 million. And I'll just ring back 80 million, 100 million.
Wow.
And then he come on the next visit and I probably seemed a bit down again. He goes, why are you down? He goes, you said 10 million views, Dad. It's on 130 million views, man. The whole world's talking about your film. I said, yeah, good point. All right.
Did your son ever say to your dad, I hope you're not getting out early? I'm liking the break. Man, it's full on out here.
It's full of... Nah,
hey, listen, before we go, because I do have to let you go, and I know you're conscious of all of that. It's great to speak with you in person. I really do admire your tenacity and the courage that you're showing in trying to stand up for what you believe is right and to hear your voice.
It's not what I believe is right. It's what's right. It's what you believe is right as well. Maybe not yet, but you will.
So what is your message? I mean, I started this interview by saying, I can't believe you're alive. You know they're going to keep coming at you. What's your message? That
we win no matter what. Lock me up in jail, we win. Proved it last time. Take us out, you make us a martyr. There's actually nothing they can do. There's nothing. They're in a bad situation because when the public, which they're getting there, when they realise the lies they've been told, same in Australia, I'm looking at what's happening in your country. When they look and they realise our daughters aren't safe anymore, we can't walk the streets, they're going to look at who's responsible for that. And it didn't have to be like this. So someone, government and media, as is happening now with the rape gangs inquiry, when the public who have been thinking this, but whispering it, when that dam bursts, which is close to burning, they're going to be screaming it. They're going to be screaming it. And then they're going to be looking to who lied and who told the truth. And trust in people like us is going to go here. And then it's just going to go down and they're never going to be trusted again. And that's where we're at now. In fact, the polls show it. There's a poll of trust in media for Europe. Do you know the country that distrusts the media the most? Great Britain. Not the former communist states. Great Britain have the least trust in media. So, to people, Australians, to anyone, even if you're not in Australia, it's like, if not now, then when? We're losing our country. You're losing your culture. We've got 1,000 years of Christian English history in this country, and they've given it away in 70 years. They've caused the destruction of our entire nation. They've had a successful left-wing revolution. Attack the family, attack the church, attack masculinity, attack everything. But a counter-revolution has now started, and they ain't going to be able to stop it.
Good to talk with you, Tommy.
Nice one. Thanks.